YouTube, what's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a minute. But hey, we back now. And y'all forgive the noise. My dog decided she wanted to sit in. Whatever. Hope everybody's doing all right. Hope everybody's having a blessed life. You dig what I'm saying? Hope everybody's good. And now we about to get right back into what we left off. And it was all about, ooh, my hair is lopsided. I love my afro. My girl really wants me to cut it. But y'all, I love this thing so much. I do need to edge up, but I kind of like the natural edge. But it's not what this video is about. But today we are going to get into some of the life lessons we can learn from a movie. I've been wanting to do this movie for a while. And I think I was a little nervous just because I wanted to get all of my facts together, because this movie has a lot of weight to it. This is a movie on Netflix. The movie that we're going over today is called Come Sunday. Come Sunday is a faith-based film, and it's following the life of Bishop Carlton Pearson, right? It is a faith-based film, right? But this is not a film for just Christians, to be honest with you. It tells the story of a man who had a change in something he believed. And excuse me one sec, y'all. My dog is making a lot of noise and it's distracting. Hey, you making a lot of noise. I'm gonna show her to y'all. This is my mini pincher, Layla. Never get one. I'm just being real. I love her, but they are so stubborn, and she's really intelligent. I tell people, she's really intelligent, but she is stubborn. She's really an outside dog, but she likes to snuggle with you and stuff like that. That's my baby. I'll tell y'all that story and how we got her later. Bella. Hey, I need you to stop all that if you don't sit here. I know y'all like, well, I'll show y'all that or whatever, but hey, I'm a fan of Cat Williams, and I remember in one of his stand-ups, he's like, hey man, the real stuff is the funny stuff. He's like, I almost gave myself a concussion. Like, I think he like ran over something. So hey, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. You dig what I'm saying? This is me. I ain't got nothing to hide. This is about a man on a journey. He had a change in his belief system, but you're known for having that belief system, and now you're faced with, do I continue down that path and go against myself and not live in my truth, or do I just lie? And it started. I had to pause it because I had to go look up his name, so please forgive my cut. Let I get it right. Jesus, help me. Choatel Ejiofor. I hope I got that right. We're gonna look that up. But I've seen this brother act in, I think the first time I seen him was in The Four Brothers. He had a supporting role in a film with Denzel that we all love called American Gangster. He was the brother that just couldn't get nothing right and was messing stuff up. And of course, this was the brother that played in 12 Years a Slave. Very, very, very wonderful actor. Also in Doctor Strange. He was also in Doctor Strange. Now, his performance, as I watched the Larry Reid interviews, and I watched different interviews, and I'll show you guys everything I watch on YouTube. I'll show it to you. As I looked at that, and I looked at his performance, and the way he looked, the way he carried himself, the way he preached, he got it right. He mirrored Bishop Carlton Pearson so perfectly, it's scary. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't too little. It was perfect. And a lot of times what happens is, like, you'll watch a movie, like a biography or something like that, and you tend to, like, if it, let's say it's a good biography, right? Autobiography. Let's say it's a good one of those. You tend to start preferring, if it's a good one, the character version that was in the movie. But that wasn't the case here for me. It drove me to want to know the real guy. I even think the actor, you can't find any interviews with, okay, hold on, I gotta get his name right. Choatel Ejiofor. You can't find any interviews with Chiwetel. You can't find any interviews of him, but you do find other interviews with the cast, with other cast members, but you can't find any of him. And I thought to myself, why is that? Because you always have to have the leading man. The leading man is who we see, who gets the most screen time. Obviously, that's who we came to the movie for. But I thought to myself, I said, I think that was done on purpose to put the light on Carlton Pearson, so there wouldn't be any of those blurred lines at all in any way, which I have no way of proving that, but I definitely believe that. And I think that's a very admirable thing, because it's a way of honoring Carlton Pearson that much further, because now that you done watched the movie, now go talk to the real guy. I done my work back. I can back up now. So I think that's beautiful. Now, before we go any further, I want to give a disclaimer. This video, this channel, I'm not discussing theology and theological perspectives. I am here for the movies, and I am here to discuss life lessons that we can learn from this art form. I love art. I'm a poet. I write songs. I'm an actor myself. I've done comedy. That's a whole another story. Wanted to tell you guys, this is not the channel. I'm not getting into the theology. Those of you that know about the film know about the film. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to get into it, so don't worry about it. But I'm not getting into theology. I'm not trying to have theological debates. I'm not doing that. That's not what this is for. I am here strictly for the movie. I am here to discuss the movie, and we want to talk about life lessons we can take away from this movie. That's what I'm here for. Okay? Okay. So Bishop Carlton Pearson, he is this guy, it was back in the day. He is a bishop. He comes from this long line of ministers and pastors, and he went to Oral Roberts University, which that was a very known pastor at the time, very known preacher, very prominent, very well respected, who at this college, the person whose name was on the college took a liking to this man, mentored him. So Carlton Pearson went on to start his own church, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the amazing thing about that is it became a mega church. It became a huge church. So think of like Joel Osteen's church. Think of like T.D. Jakes' church. Think of like those huge names of today. Stephen Furtick. These huge faith-based movements, that's happening. He was that. Now, what you gotta understand is, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, if I'm wrong, but that's where Black Wall Street was. And, obviously we know the history of Black Wall Street, because things were burned down and those businesses and black people were thriving, but that was burned down for various reasons. So this man went to that place, started the church. It was diverse. So now you got white folks and black people coming together, worshiping God, growing, loving the word, and following this man. He was in the Pentecostal movement, and the Pentecostal movement was very traditional, you know what I'm saying? And not very appealing to people. So Carlton Pearson, what he wanted to do was he wanted to take the Pentecostal denomination to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and make it more appealing, which he did. They had a wonderful choir. Man, you go back and look at those services, man. I don't know what the year is. I don't know if I don't know if it's the 70s or what year it is, but man, you just go back and look at all the styles and all the afros and the you remember like those big suits with the broad shoulders. It's just a wonderful sight to see. So this man had a lot of great success. He had the mentor, he had the church, he had the name. He's getting invited all over the world to preach and to tell to preach the word of God, and he's doing what his his great-grandparents did, what their great-grandparents did. He doing what he was destined to do, just like the rest of his family members did. He's following in the path of being a pastor. He has the mentor. He has the church that broke barriers. He was his ministry was on TV. It was being televised. So you have the platform, you have the name, you got everything. And something happens, guys. What ends up happening is he had a change in theology. For those of you that don't know what theology is, I'm gonna just give it a very basic definition. Not Google, but there it is, okay? Theology is the study of the Bible. He had a major change in his theology. So, you know, I'm a church boy. I grew up in the church, and I'm an avid Bible reader. So the Bible talks much about, you know, going to hell. And most of us have heard this message throughout our lives. But, you know, if you sin, you don't repent, blah, 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 you know, you run the risk of being put in hell when you're unalive and when you transition, right? Bishop Carlton Pearson had a change in his belief because he began to believe that hell wasn't meant for us. And so the messaging he began to preach is that because Jesus died on the cross, and we've heard that story, and I'm not trying to get deep into the theology. I'm just trying to catch you up so we can get to the movie. That's all. So because Jesus died on the cross, that means that none of us will go to hell. So to just sum it up, And so this theology was entitled the message of inclusion, which is everybody is included in God's love and God's army. And that was very controversial to the church. Does that mean I can do anything and not go to hell? Does that mean I can do drugs and not, like, there was just a lot of unclear things. So in the process of that, this man lost his church. This man lost his name. He was labeled a heretic. It makes me think of I wasn't old enough to see this, but I'm a major Michael Jackson fan. Not to mention I can dance like him. If you want me to prove it, go to my Instagram. They think of like the Wacko Jacko stuff when they were doing all that with Michael Jackson. But the guy fell from grace, and he lost everything. He lost everything he worked so hard for. Now, as I did my study on Carlton Pearson, and shout out to Larry Reid, because Larry Reid got many different interviews throughout the years with Carlton Pearson, all the way up. Even on his deathbed, Carlton Pearson did pass away. He passed away, like, because it's 2025. I think either he passed away last year or the year before, which would be 2023. I think he passed away in 2023. I can verify that for you guys. But anyway, Larry Reid, he has a channel here on YouTube, and Larry Reid is basically like the Christian version of Tasha K. You know, he kind of like, if there was just a dilemma in a church or with a pastor, he's able to go get the story, whether it be people close to that pastor or people or the pastor himself. You know, he keeps everything up to date on what's going on in like the Christian community. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, Larry Reid was able to get many interviews with him, and I was very like amazed. He's a very intelligent man. He's charming. He looks he doesn't look like the everyday person, but he liked clothes and he dressed very immaculate. His hair was always fly. He spoke very articulately. You could tell he was a book warmer. Every time he talked, you were drawn in, and there was something you could learn from him and apply to your life that day, that moment. He was so deep, but You could tell he was just a loving man, a very passionate man. You know, like he was very, very, very charming in all the interviews that I saw of him. So the thing that I was amazed by learning more about him and watching his interviews is that he was a televangelist, which is another way of saying like pastor on TV, right? He had a prominent role in in some of our televangelists of today. Y'all thought y'all was gonna get me. I got it. He had a prominent role in helping televangelists of today get established. For instance, T.D. Jakes, he was instrumental in helping T.D. Jakes, his sermons getting played on Christian networks over and over again. He made a call. He found out about T.D. Jakes, liked him, loved his messages, and called. You know, he still had connections. Called the network and said, "Hey, put this guy on repeat. Put this guy on repeat." So that's how he helped T.D. Jakes become who we know him as today. Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen. I've heard him talk about it a lot. How his father was a minister. He never wanted to do it. His thing was always behind the camera and stuff like that. And I think that's what he did a lot in the church growing up. He would be behind the cameras, learning and stuff like that. And I don't know the complete story. I don't know if his father was getting sick, but he was looked upon to take it over. But you got to understand that before that, Joel Osteen's father actually went to Carlton Pearson first and was like, "Listen, I need somebody young to take over my church because none of my sons are interested in it." You know, obviously years passed and Joel came of age. Different things had happened. You know, the father had now transitioned, and Carlton Pearson was telling Joel, like, "Joel, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. And I will have your back, and the organizations I'm a part of will have your back." So that's how he helped Joel Osteen. And then all the way up even to Michael Todd, who Michael Todd has a church in Tulsa, Oklahoma now. Michael Todd's parents served under Carlton Pearson. Served is another way of saying like helped, aided in the ministry, because you know, you definitely need help dealing with all those people. Michael Todd's parents worked up under Carlton Pearson. You even heard Michael Todd talk about that. So I thought that was very interesting finding that out. But I just say that to say to just give some context to how big he was and how prominent he was and how loved he was in the Christian community. He was the Bishop Jakes of that time. The movie did not do it justice showing the church. It was it's an independent film, but the church they have in the movie, it's very small to compare how big that church was. You got to go back and look up old Carlton Pearson church footage on YouTube. As a pastor, you are looked upon to guide the people, to grow the people, to lead the people. And this whole idea that there is no hell shook that foundation, because that's one of the main reasons why we have pastors, is to keep people out of hell. So this was a major deal. Like, this wasn't no small thing at all. Now, we gonna be real here. Most this is what I've concluded. Most Christian movies suck, and I was like, why is that? The reason being is because Christians are liars. All right, now we gonna be real here. People curse. People are not perfect fairies in the world. And that's what these films try to offer. And there's no realism to them. So what I like about this film is it provides realism. We're able to look into this man's life. When he goes home, he's not a pastor, he's a man, right? We get to see his fears, his struggles, his heartaches, his pain, his kids, you know? So it's like we were able to uncover everything. And Just look back. I mean, he praised the film. He even direct people to the film so you can find out more about his story and about him. Like he he lived by it for sure. He was very proud of it. Oh my goodness, the wife. So you gotta understand that in church, the pastor is it's like the pastor is kind of looked like a star athlete, you know, a star NBA player, a star NFL player, you know, and if that person is single, you already know how it is. Every woman in the world is throwing themselves at that man. So in the church, it's kind of frowned upon. If you're gonna lead a church, it's kind of frowned upon to be single, because in the back of everybody's mind, everybody like, what's going on with his sex life? I'm just being real. I'm being real. His wife, loved her character in the film. There was a form of love in their relationship, but they weren't in love. Their relationship, the way I read it, and the movie alluded to it as well, and I heard Carlton Pearson say some things in the interview that led me to this conclusion as well, but their marriage was arranged. Usually, you marry a pastor, you become, you know, first lady, and you take in those responsibilities, and that wasn't her, and so now she's trying to fit into this role for the sake of her husband and for the sake of the church that she's just not feeling. She tried her best to be there, but it was hard for her. They never divorced. I don't believe. I know there was some sort of separation, and Carlton Pearson definitely blamed himself. He said it was on me. He said he tried to his best to love her, but it was tough. It was tough. Church, church eyes, and church judgment can be tough. So I felt for her in this film, and it was very interesting hearing her story. And it was very interesting as Carlton Pearson. There's a moment in the movie where we see he's presenting this brand new theology, and he asks his wife how did everybody frowned upon it, and people begin to leave and yell and scream and all this stuff. And he asks his wife how does she feel about it, and you've seen her look at him different. Like, I believe it because you believe it. Like, I got your back. I'm going to stand with you. There's even like, as the church is dying down and people are leaving, you see her standing up on that stage, standing with her man. And it was like, for her, it was like, you could tell through the eyes of a woman, you could tell like, she saw the strength in her man. Where he saw it as like, I don't know what's happened to me. I'm being crazy. Like, I shouldn't be saying this. Now, many people say I look like this gentleman. Y'all tell me if this is true or not. But Lakeith Stanfield is also in the movie, and this is before he blew up. This is before this. I have to verify that. I'm not sure if this is before Get Out. I think Get Out made him. I think Get Out really established him. So I believe this is prior to Get Out. This is him on the come up. And Lakeith Stanfield plays the choir director, who he's also a closeted homosexual. It's like taboo in the church, so he's closeted. The character's name is Reggie, and I found it interesting, so I kept trying to find information to see if the character was real. And no, the character's not real, but the scenario of that character is real. That theme happened in Carlton Pearson's life. But one of the things that Carlton Pearson would say is like, being gay and doing gay is two different things. But then of course, when the theology changed, Reggie took that as like, oh, I can go be with someone now. I can live that life and not worry about going to hell. And Carlton Pearson was like, no, that's not the message. Which led Reggie to being very frustrated. And we see him really struggling to fight and hang in there with Bishop. We also see his health declining. We also see the church numbers dying, and he eventually has to leave because none of this stuff is making sense, and he's all over the place. I have to talk about Bishop Yvette Flunder. I hope I got her name right. But she's shown in the film just a little, just lightly. But she became Carlton Pearson's mentor as he took on this new theology. And she was a bit controversial herself because here she is, she's a bishop and she's a lesbian. And she leads a LGBTQ plus church. And she was very instrumental in mentoring Carlton Pearson into this new space, space of preaching and theology. And she gave him a lot of support, and they remained friends all the way up until his death. I think the greatest scene in the movie is when Carlton Pearson is called to, he gets a call from this religious organization that wants to kind of let him speak and challenge his theology and kind of like see what's going on with him. And it's kind of like a trial. He stood his ground best he could, and he spoke his mind, and he gave an impassioned speech and kind of went into like how he got to this conclusion. But I think that's the most powerful scene because here it is, you're amongst your peers, you're amongst other pastors from all over the nation, and you have to explain yourself, and he didn't cower. He stood on it. So I think that was the best scene. I wish we could have seen Carlton Pearson praying. I wish we could have really seen him praying in private, what that was like. The movie gave us his private time, and it showed us like him on a fast and like taking time away from everybody and reading the Bible and being emotional. But I wish we could have heard him praying and speaking to God, because I think that would have spoken to like what his mind was thinking and the emotional frustration of where he was. You know, I wish we could have had. All right, guys. Now it's that magical time. We're going to get into the 3 life lessons we can take away from the film. Number 1, don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. You know, there were pastors that called Bishop Carlton Pearson and told him that, hey, I believe in your message, but I'm too scared to lose everything. Stand on what your gut is telling you to stand on. Go where your heart is. Speak your truth regardless of the cost. Don't lie to you. I think lesson number 2 would be true to your God. Be true to the God of your understanding. Don't allow outside forces or outside people to challenge that way of thinking. Keep your relationship one with your God. And lastly, number 3, never quit. You have a purpose, you have a destiny, you have a reason for being upon this earth. And regardless of it not being fulfilled in the way you think it should be, continue to pursue it, even through the hardships. Even through hardships. You know, I got a story I just want to tell briefly of just about why being a coward hit me so hard. Working at a job, I keep it vague. I was working at a job, and I had a pretty good name, pretty good character. And there was a gentleman, we got into an altercation. Keeping it vague, that gentleman decided to get in my face, and we were yelling back and forth. Luckily, there was no fight that took place. And long story short, this gentleman was known for bringing in a lot of money to the company. There was really no real resolve to the issue. I noticed my GM the next day, he spoke to him for like an hour, didn't say nothing to me. And to make a long story short, I was getting the feeling over the course of some weeks that something was going on, something fishy was going on. So I just decided to quit. And I'm just keeping the story vague and keeping names out of it, everything like that. And I'm past it now, so we're good. I was moving on and started, working found another job and moved on. I got a call from somebody that worked on that job with me. And I was very happy to talk to this person. Like, hey, what's going on? This person went on to tell me how they conspired against my character along with other people and this and that, and they were threatened by the manager if they didn't do it, that he would be fired, and he knew I didn't do anything wrong and always thought of me like a little brother. And he went on to say things. I can keep it vague. He went on to say, I have a record and I feared I wasn't gonna be able to get another job. And he's like, you're young and you can start over. I wasn't mad when he told me this, but I just had that feeling of, I knew I was right. I knew people were conspiring against me and lying on me. I just couldn't prove it, but I knew it. That's all I felt. And it made me think, I don't ever want to do that to somebody that doesn't deserve that. So after that phone call, I vowed Darian Best is not going to be no coward. I am not going to sell somebody out or challenge somebody's morals who I know carries good character. You know what's funny? He ended up losing that job anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in. That has been another episode of Life Lessons. We can go learn through these awesome movies. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. I definitely did. And we're going to get into something else next week. So I'll see y'all.